Welcome back. Markets this morning on this first trading day of July, first trading day of the third quarter and the second half of the year, lower, although off of the lows. The Dow Industrials right now down 100. The NASDAQ is down 116. We want to look at chip stocks. Of course, chip stocks led the market in a big rally yesterday, but this morning we're seeing some weakness in chip stocks, and that is leading the NASDAQ lower, down about 1/3%. Meanwhile, there you go. The worst performer here is Intel, down better than 1%. Of course, Intel is up sharply since the government took a 10% stake in that company. OpenAI, meanwhile, in talks to delay its public offering until at least 2027. This is the speculation. No confirmation yet from the Chat GPT maker on when it will go public. SpaceX, meanwhile, set to join the NASDAQ 100 for trading July 7th, making it one of the fastest additions to that index. SpaceX is up another 2% this morning. And, of course, Anthropic also eyeing an IPO. It's expected to come public. It's launching a lower-cost Claude Sonnet 5 after its Mythos 5 model was cleared by the U.S. in an effort to restore access to certain trusted partners after the Trump administration, remember, raised security concerns there for Anthropic. Joining me now live here on the floor of the exchange for a Fox Business exclusive is the president of the New York Stock Exchange, Lynn Martin. Lynn, thank you for having us this morning.
Welcome home, Maria. It's so great to see you broadcasting from the floor.
It really is, and we're so happy to be here. Thank you for accommodating the program as we celebrate 250 years. What does 250 mean to you? I mean, you have to pinch yourself working down here on Wall Street for as long as you have, and this is the birth of America's economy.
Absolutely. I mean, 250 years, I've been reflecting on that a lot. I can't believe our country is 250 years young.
That's right.
And I think our best days are still ahead of us, particularly when you look at the strength of our capital markets. If you think back to 250 years ago, we were founded on the premise that freedom is core to everything we do in this country. And then a few years later, when the New York Stock Exchange was formed in 1792, just on the corner of Wall and Broad, we were founded on a derivative of that concept of freedom, which is free and transparent markets. Thinking back, those two principles have endured this country for more than 2 centuries.
Wow.
And that is what has built all the amazing innovation that has occurred in the world.
That's right.
Are those two basic premises, freedom and free and transparent markets.
That's right. I love it. And we've seen so much change working here. I certainly have. You certainly have. And now the NYSE is seeing more competition. People have seen what you're doing. They want a piece of it. You've got Texas launching its own exchange. They're going to begin trading officially this month in Texas. At the same time, you're competing with global financial centers like London, Hong Kong for listings. And, of course, then there's NASDAQ. So what are you going to do to grab more of the action in terms of some of these hot IPOs? SpaceX obviously went to NASDAQ. Can you get some of these hot deals coming?
Yeah, I mean, we're incredibly optimistic about the second half of this year. I mean, nothing beats the transparency and liquidity that happens at the New York Stock Exchange. The way you should think about the New York Stock Exchange is we blend the best of technology and humans. Nothing can replace human judgment, even in this increasingly digital age. So if you think about what happens on the floor of the exchange, we've got the best technology. We've got the state-of-the-art technology, which processes more than 1.2 trillion messages a day. But importantly, we have those 3 layers of defense on top of it, which is the human judgment. The humans can step in when things start to look a bit off, when there's additional volatility in the market. And the humans here do that every single day with state-of-the-art technology at their fingertips.
Let me get your take on the rest of the year. How do the IPO calendar look to you? Are you expecting a good second half? What can you tell us?
Yeah, extraordinarily robust. The first half of this year, the amount of proceeds raised into U.S. capital markets is the best that we've seen in at least the last 5 years, if not looking back to 2021, 2020. And we're incredibly optimistic that, particularly looking at our own calendar, that the second half of the year is going to continue on that trend.
Yeah, and what about things going digital? I mean, earlier this year, the New York Stock Exchange filed a rule change with the Securities and Exchange Commission to allow tokenized stocks to trade on the exchange. Do you expect all markets to get tokenized? How do you see tokenization changing things?
So I think tokenization is just the latest evolution on the application of technology to make markets more efficient. So the automation of settlement, the freeing up of capital. So in our minds, the tokenization is just that next frontier. We're excited about bringing our tokenized platform live at the second half of this year, and we're having really good dialogue with the SEC enabling that.
I think it's really interesting that all markets are going to be tokenized. Like, in other words, I don't have to buy one stock. I can buy a token, a slice of that stock.
But it's important that, and our approach is that the token is married to the stock. So that way, when you actually get a token, customers understand, investors understand what they're getting alongside that token. In our mind, the worst thing that could happen is a shadow market develop that's disconnected from the individual stocks. That's bad from an issuer standpoint. It's bad from an investor standpoint. So from our perspective, it's about responsible innovation. How do we bring this new technology to the market, but in a way that is connected to the rules, the regulation, the protections that have endured this country for 234 years in the case of the New York Stock Exchange.
America 250 and the New York Stock Exchange announcing a partnership ahead of America's birthday this weekend. The initiative will support programs on economic history, civic values, the future of America, highlighting market entrepreneurs, HIP, and innovation. You're also promoting financial literacy, which I love. And I know that you're going to be ringing the opening bell from the Oval Office on Monday. That's awesome. That's because of the Trump accounts.
Yeah, we've been a huge supporter of the Trump accounts, an early supporter of those. I can't think of a better initiative to unite the future generations of this country than to all being able to participate in the growth of America.
Yeah, and I guess when you're seeing what the administration's doing with the Trump accounts, that's only going to encourage more people to become investors.
Absolutely. I mean, think about the conversations at the dinner table. I think about the conversations with my own kids at the dinner table. What makes America great? What makes America great is our capital markets. You talked about some of the financial centers outside of the U.S. earlier. Our capital markets are the envy of the world. Those financial centers, those companies listed on those financial centers, are looking at ways to tap the American capital markets. So I can't think of a better conversation to be having with my children and the next generation of children than what has really made America the powerhouse that it is.
And I love the Trump accounts idea. I think it's really smart. Lynn, thank you again for having us here, and thanks for joining us.
Welcome home, Maria.
Thank you very much. Lynn Martin is the president of the New York Stock Exchange. Stay with us. We'll take a break and come back with the CEO of Bank of America, Brian Moynihan, with me as well. You're watching Mornings with Maria, live from the NYSE. Great. I think that was great.